Appreciate it.
Now, talk to us a little bit about the need for mentorship in the community. Why is this such a big need for the young people out there right now?
Well, like myself, there's many youth that are growing up in an environment, whether it's the neighborhood or the home that they're living in, being raised in. So they're dealing with gang activity, they're dealing with abuse in the home, they're dealing with neglect, fatherlessness. They're dealing with a lot of things that they're not equipped to handle on their own. And so they're taking this burden on their shoulders and these emotions that have not been addressed, and they're taking them to school. And I believe that's the root problem that is causing kids today to not be successful in the classroom.
And what becomes the domino effect of that when they don't have the father at home and they don't have that stability and someone to like talk into their heart and into their mind? Like what happens? Where's the breakdown within them?
Well, I know for me and what I've seen with all the kids that I've been working with, it's just a buildup of negative emotions, whether it's anger. I think anger is the root of all of those things, frustration, sadness, those type of things. And all those negative emotions are expressed in a way that is disruptive, and it could be catastrophic for the kid, right? So I think it just all comes out in a negative sense, whether it's acting out in class, fighting, joining a gang, being abusive to your siblings or others, and it's just not being addressed. So they're not getting the help that I feel that they need.
So walk me through the process of, there's a student.
Sure.
They're having problems at school.
Right.
The teachers notice the domino effect occurring.
Right.
Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in the home life.
Right.
There's a lot of rules out there about how involved, administration and teachers and so forth can get.
Right.
So what does the child need to do? What needs to happen to help pull them out of this spiral?
Right. Well, I know one of the things that we do is we encourage the mentors. Part of the training process with our mentors is we try to equip them with tools that they could use, and we work with the parents to be the second point of contact at their school. Yeah. So what that does is that it gives the kids an outlet. It gives the teacher and the counselors or principals an outlet, and know that they have a partner outside of the home, not just with the family, but also a third party where they can tap into to help them address any needs. So as a second point of contact at the kid's school, if the kid acts up or they're fighting or whatever the case is, instead of calling the parent, the counselor, the principal, or the teacher will notify the mentor, and then that's a great opportunity to mentor that child over the phone and to walk him through those issues and try to give him some helpful hints on how to improve his behavior in the classroom.
So for parents watching today who are thinking, well, why aren't they just calling me? Like, I'm the parent, right? Help us understand kind of the situation of, why the mentor needs to be contacted before the parent is contacted.
Right. So during and at the beginning stages of this relationship, when we're working with the parent and the child, we help them to understand that we're partnering with the family. Yes. Okay. So it's not like we're replacing the dad. It's not like we're replacing the mother. We're more so coming alongside to try to enhance what you're already doing at home. And so what we do is we ask them if we can be a second point of contact at their school. And it's like a burden lifted off their shoulders, because a lot of times the parent or the parents, caregivers, are working jobs where they can't just take off and go to the child's school and pick them up. So there's been some times where the school will contact me directly and say, hey, this kid was fighting and he's being suspended today. The mother can't leave her job to come pick him up. And I've by the grace of God, I've been allowed to be in a position where my job was flexible to where I was able to leave for that day, go pick up the kid from school, and be able to use that as an opportunity to counsel and talk with him and kind of help him through those issues.
I think for parents watching who just heard that, I'm sure that helps take off some of that stigma of like, well, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not being, present enough.
Right.
Because they're, like you said, they're working. These are families who are, they just need an extra hand.
Right. I know my mom lost a few of her jobs because all I did was fight from anger issues. And they would contact her and say, hey, he's been suspended, or he's in our office, whatever the case is. And she had to leave her job. And of course, she'll take her anger out on me and my younger sibling. And it's because of the actions that, that I cause. So I understand that, and I want to try to make sure the parent or the caregiver understands that we're here to partner with you to try to alleviate some of the burden on your end.
So as the student who's sitting in the principal's office, since you relate to that,
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about what happens in the heart of that young person when someone cares, when someone steps in and says, you know what, I care that you're
Right.
upset, that you're angry, that you're fighting. What can I do to help you? What does that do for them?
Well, I think it just really opens up their eyes to, here's a guy that has his own family, have a family of 5, 3 kids, and at the time working full time. And for them, they understand my story, so they know what I've been going through since age 3. And so they can understand that I can relate with what they're going through. I haven't been through everything, but I've been through enough to, God has allowed me to go through enough to where I can relate. And the kids can understand that, okay, here's a guy that is sacrificing his time. I'm not being paid to do this, sacrificing my time to come in and spend time with him, so that from the kids that we've come in contact with, they've learned to appreciate that.
Right.
Because the majority of the kids are in our program, their fathers are not in their life, whether they're deceased or in jail, or they're just, not being involved at all whatsoever in the decisions that are in the home. So I use this as an opportunity to allow the kid to hang out with me and my family. We're going either to the mall or something like that, or to my kids' game, so they can see that interaction in a healthy environment, husband, wife, kids, and see that relationship, and hopefully that will give them some encouragement that, okay, one day, if that's what the kid wants to do, so one day that can happen to me.
You're mirroring a healthy relationship and a healthy family when they otherwise probably wouldn't see it.
Yeah, I'm trying, and that's what helped me. Again, my mentor. It's in my story on my website. He's married. He was married, and he's married, and 3 kids, and he did the exact same thing. So I would go to church with them, but because of seeing that. I didn't see that normally in my environment. Usually you go to single parent homes with your friends, but to be able to see that, it was encouraging for me.
That's really awesome. I love how you said that God allowed you to go through enough to be able to help them, because it makes me think of, the scripture of He works all things together for our good, right? And so it's good to see how He's taken that and He's, used that to help other people and help these young men. Talk to me a little bit more about the spiritual aspects. You said that you were taken to church. How does that help these young people to know, I care not just about your behavior at school, but your spiritual growth too?
Right. I think it's very important. That's the root. Even though my mother was a huge disciplinarian, and she wasn't able to be too much involved in our sporting activities, our extracurricular activities, but she was. We had to go to church, revival, all of those type of things, what you call vacation Bible school, all of those things. And so I know that gave me a foundation. And we are a faith-based organization, but what I decided to do starting out is just not plaster cross and scripture all over everything, because usually what I've seen is that deter kids, because they're living such an imperfect life that they felt that they would be judged, trying to go get help from this Christian organization. So when they come to find out, when it appears to be worldly, and they come in and like, hey, we're a faith-based organization, yes sir, no sir, we pray before our sessions, let me pray with you on the session. And for most part, how we do that is we try to live by example. And I think that adds, again, what it did for me. It added me a solid foundation that I can build upon. And as these kids are growing up, they have a support system. They have someone that they can pray with. They have someone that can pray for them, and then offer any guidance. I don't know everything, but if we come across some things, I've read the Bible enough to know, okay, let's do some research together and find out. Let's see if we can find the answer to some of your questions that you may have.
That's awesome. I love that, because you're talking about action speaking louder than your words.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm sure that's building trust in them.
To
See it, and the fact that you're like, I don't know the answer.
Let's go find it together.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
How do they respond to that? Like watching you live it out, and then to saying, I don't know, but let's find out together. Like, what does that do for them, you think?
Right. It takes the stereotype off of, it helps them change that mindset that men can't be vulnerable, or men can't. I tell them I love them. There's times where I'm hugging on them or whatever, or they're coming in and they're giving me dap, and I kiss them on the forehead, and so I try to create this environment so it's okay, so praying with them and doing those type of things with them. And I pray with their parents from time to time when they're calling me. Just I had to kick them out of it again. I kick them out of the house again, and these things are going on. And use that opportunity to talk with them and pray with them. So I think it's important to show that side, especially as an African American male, to show that side that to these young men, that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to pray. It's okay to say I love you. It's okay, you know what I mean? Because that's what Christ did for us, right? So I think Christ was a perfect example for all the folks that saw him and heard him, and to say, you know, it's okay. He's a man. He's doing it, and nothing's happening to him. And so that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful that you show them, you walk it out for them.
Right.
And I hear, you know, your heart for them because of you having been there and you're relating to that.
Right.
Tell me a story, if you can, of maybe someone who was resistant to mentorship.
Okay.
What were some of their fears about it, and kind of the happy ending, if you will, if there is one. Hopefully there is one in the story.
Right.
But everyone who's a mentor usually has like that one kid on their heart that really stands out. What is that story for you?
Well, I have a ton of, but one that stands out more than anything is I started this program. There was a program I was involved with back in 2005 that eventually just went away, and so I was part of that. And I'm asking, like, what are you going to do with these kids? And so they didn't have anywhere else to go. So that's where Integrity Mentors come. I just grabbed those 5 boys in that program and just started hanging out with them once a month. And come to find out, one of the guys, it was a big guy. He ended up, now he's still probably about 6'3", I think, 300 and some odd pounds.
Wow.
Playing football. I had more concerns about him than I had with any other of the kids combined. Because you know, again, fatherlessness, hanging around with gangs, 2 younger siblings, young girls, young sisters. So I was really concerned about his direction in life. And so during that process of him being involved in the program, although he was a great kid, he just didn't make the best decisions, which we all are in that same boat, right? When we're growing up in that environment. Yeah. So what ended up happening is that he continued on through the program. There were some bumps in the road. There was been times he was when I had to go do a classroom visit all day, sit in all his classes and talk to his teachers and those type of things, and go to the home and deal with these things, him being kicked out.
Because mentorship doesn't mean you solve the problem immediately.
No,
it just means that
process.
now when there is a problem,
it's a process.
They have help,
yeah,
right?
You have to be consistent. So long story short, his grandfather passed, I believe, about a couple of years ago. I know he's been having heart problems, and I know this young man has always stressed since I've known him is that he wanted to be a cardiologist to try to help reverse the effects of heart disease. And we ended up working with him. He graduated from high school. We started working with him as far as getting his applications in for college. He got accepted to TJC for cardiology. Wow. And so he went, I think, about a year ago. So he was at TJC going to school for cardiology. I just found out he just transferred to UTA. So now he's going to school for cardiology and being consistent and working at the same time.
That's awesome. I think it's wonderful to hear how important mentorship is in young people's lives and how it can have an effect, a positive effect on their future. And so to hear a story like that helps kind of wrap it up and help us to see, hey, it does work.
Yeah, definitely.
Mentoring young people is a good thing. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Integrity Mentors for what you're doing for our community.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for watching us today at Join Our Town.